morning, everybody. Everybody's awake? Yeah, everyone's here. Well, like yesterday, I'm sure there'll be people streaming in as the morning progresses. I like to do a presentation on gogoNET, the social network, and Freenet 6, our v6 service that we provide. And I think in both cases there'll be a lot of interest in terms of what the depth is there, and also Freenet 6 is one of the largest working v6 networks. So we have a lot of, I guess, key information to share, and Mikkel will be doing that part of the presentation. So gogo, what? It's a bit confusing because there's all the gogos. So I just wanted to put up the slide. This is the branding slide and kind of the composition of what we're trying to do. gogo6 is the name of the company. We're here at gogoNET Live, and gogoNET is the social network. So it's social network and services for IPv6. So it consists of the Freenet 6 service and then the social network. And then we also have another part of our house which pays the bills, because as you know, the gogoNET is all free, and that's our GogoWare products. And we have the 3 products. You've seen the CPE, the Gogo CPE, a few times yesterday. That's a small device that plugs into the network. And then we also have a server. There's a client-server architecture, tunneling based, the Gogo server. And then what you use on Freenet 6 is actually the Gogo client. It's the software, this free software client that you download to your computer. So, you know, I've talked to pretty much everybody personally here, and it's sometimes a little bit confusing of all the different Gogos. And then there's a Gogo dancer, and then there's the girl with the peace, and then there's all the people that don't really, which is my fault, but I thought it'd be obvious. But the peace sign, where is she? Am I the only one that sees this? That is a V6, right? Oh, all right. Yeah, maybe I am the only one that sees this. 60s, peace, V6. Okay. Our hypothesis is that a social network is the best way to acquire knowledge about implementing IPv6, SAN, training, education, and already having experience. So really it's a question of data versus knowledge. And I have said this many times, but when you go on Google, you're getting data on IPv6, you're reading it, and you'll learn. You will learn. But to get the experience to be able to answer questions, what ifs, and when you're in the middle of implementing something, it's much better to try to build knowledge. So the Google holds data, but it's people that hold knowledge. And then gogoNET is really a collection, a social network, but it's a collection of people that have knowledge in different parts of IPv6. And so it's going to take time for this to really, I think, for people to get used to it. Facebook obviously is changing the way people communicate, but I think a social network dedicated to a professional, endeavor like IPv6, as people get used to it, I think it'll be a very powerful tool, because you're able to meet up with people that are doing the same thing that you are, or who have already done the same thing as you have, all over the world. So there's a lot of experience there. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go through the member statistics. We have currently 34,000 members, a little bit over 34,000 members. So I was just, last night I was putting this together after I got back home. Okay, well I guess I can complain about the projector as well. But there is a curve here. And this actually I pulled out from the Texas event 1 year ago. So it's almost 1 year exactly when I presented gogoNET at the Texas event. And at that time, I'm just tracing out where the curve is, just so you guys can imagine. But at that time, we had just over 5,000 members. We had about 5,000, I don't know, 5,200 members. And you can see, well, you can't see the growth of it. And the network was launched on September 27th. So approximately 1 month, we got to around 5,000 members. So we're at 34,000 members now, and that represents a 6x growth factor in 1 year. So it's approximately been 1 year. This is a breakdown of by country and then the growth factor. I don't think in this particular case you can really use this to really infer anything about the IPv6 market in general. Maybe you can make some inference because it really depends on whether they know about the social network in their particular country. But you know, if the sample size gets to, let's say, 10 times this size, then you can start using this as really a measure of, I think, activity, you know, IPv6 activity within a country. But I don't think you can look at that right now. But there are some interesting statistics in here, or at least some interesting views. Largest company is here, US. Coming up really quickly is Germany. Now the numbers below, 4.3, 16.8, can you read those? Maybe barely. I'm doing the black numbers. Oh, actually, we have a pointer right here. This is the growth factor from 1 year ago. So remember the overall growth factor for the social network was 6.6. So you can see the US actually, relative to the overall, hasn't grown. It's at 4.3. Germany, however, is 16.8. So there is a bit of an anomaly with Germany. Germany and Austria, see 18.4. There was this, we were featured in this, in a very popular forum in Germany, and we watched our traffic go crazy. And so I think this is a result of a German-speaking forum, and you can see the numbers are quite high, you know, almost double or triple the average. But the one I really wanted to point out here is China. So China has grown 46x. So the average growth of the social network was 6x. So you can see now again what this means. I don't know if you can really infer that much into this, but eventually you will be able to when the numbers get larger. But it certainly says that there's a lot more people at least aware of, you know, of this social network in China, and it's growing quite quickly. When people sign up for gogoNET, we ask them a series of questions. It's just a few questions, and most everybody here I think is probably a member, so you've answered these questions here. So we've taken the data and we've brought it together. Interesting here. So I think now at 34,000, it's a reasonable sample size to infer some information from this data. 5% of ISPs, of their ISPs, have IPv6. It's getting there, you know. So I think that's relatively fair. The other numbers, you know, I don't think mean as much, other than maybe the last one, that they would pay for it. Now, our particular audience, our particular membership, I think are a little bit more inclined to pay for IPv6 than the average bear. But I think it does say something. And then the other two are a third of the users say no, Freenet 6 is just fine for me. I don't need connectivity from my ISP. And then yeah, just a little bit over half, 57%. So yeah, if it was included for free, I'd definitely use the IPv6 for my ISP. So the people using gogoNET, the biggest one is other. So I haven't seen the business card with other on it yet, but there must be a few others here, just statistically speaking, on your business card. I don't know. They either don't want to say or they're not in that list. But you can see the numbers are pretty close. But there's 23% are students, and then network engineering, system administrators, individual software developers. They're all close, between 11 and 7%. We've got 5% for both consultants and management, and teachers, researchers come in at around 3%. So if we look at the breakdown, we have approximately, yeah, almost a quarter are students. Does that say 23%? Yeah, 23%, you know, are students. So about a quarter of our membership are students. So what we find sometimes is that university professors, if they're teaching an IPv6 class, you know, they'll put them onto Freenet 6 and they'll use that for their class. I think this is a very interesting slide when you compare it to this slide. It's what networks are you taking to IPv6? So what are the networks you're working on? So at first glance, when you look at this, you say, wow, 70%, this is primary network, so 70%, a little bit over 70% are taking their home network, you know, to IPv6. what? And only, actually I forgot to put the little numbers on top for some reason, but it appears to be like only 4% are taking their enterprise network, and what, fixed, so an ISP, there's only 10% of the members are, working for an ISP. You don't interpret it that way. What you interpret is there's far more members are working for an ISP. However, the ISPs are not giving them the opportunity at work to work on IPv6. Therefore, a very large percentage of, if you break this the other way and you take out the students, it's around 75% of our members are working at home, building their IPv6 networks at home, and I'm sure this resonates with a bunch of people in this room. They're building at home because they haven't yet been given the opportunity or the permission to work on IPv6 at their workplace. And why are they doing this is because they want to be prepared, because any moment they're going to be tapped on the shoulder and they know they're going to be the ones that are going to be responsible for building the IPv6 network. So they're taking it into their own hands, and I think that's pretty commendable. Or maybe it's self-serving as well, but it's still good. This, I think, is also a very interesting slide, and this compares again from 1 year ago from today to today. This is generally the classic model, at least the one that I've been using for years, and I think many people of the different stages of adoption of IPv6. So you're just starting the research. Right? You're looking for that information. You're joining different news groups. You're participating in different forums. Then you start going testing. So this is, now I've got stuff probably in my home network. Statistically speaking, I'm using it. I'm trying to get my head around it. Then trialing. This is for business now. You can see the numbers go way down. I'm actually have something trialing. I'm deploying. I'm in the process, and then I'm in production. So I think these numbers make a lot of sense. You look at, but what's really interesting is the change in 1 year, and we had, remember, 5,000, let's say, users 1 year ago. We have 34,000 now. So statistically, you have to kind of, squint a little bit on this. But I think it's big enough to see that there has been a shift in 1 year from a majority, which were, over half were just researching a year ago, to now the majority are actually, 50% are actually testing. And years ago, when I was raising money for our company, I had a very similar slide to this, and it was these same 5, and then I had a wave. And what I was talking to the venture capitalists about is this wave is going to move over. And I had this nice animated diagram, of the wave starting here, and then it just sort of just moving along here. And I think that is really what's going to happen. Now, the shape of that wave may change just because of the dynamics of the depletion, like a lot of the stuff we talked about yesterday. But here it is. If you plot this out, I think it's the beginning of that wave moving over. So in 1 year time, or whenever it'll be, most convenient, I'll have this slide up again, and we'll see what's happening to the overall status of deployment. Okay, so I wanted now just to take just a couple minutes, and I didn't set this up, so I hope there's the browser's here. Hope we're connected. We are. Excuse me? Yes. So on here, if we look, this is the gogoNET Live website. You guys have maybe come here. You probably have. And then if you look at the agenda, I'm just answering the question. And I'm hoping we've got some speed here. All right. So we're going to place, you can see this is from the first day. So you go down here, you have all the speakers. We have a link to their profile page on gogoNET. So this is what I was talking about, is that make some connections here, and even if you maybe don't make a connection, everybody that has spoken, with the exception of maybe 3 folks, are members of gogoNET. So click on their profile page, and then you can actually do that by clicking on their name here and make contact. they're all there to, you know, a lot of people are there to give back and help. So we have the click to their profile page, and then they also have all written a blog on an abstract of their presentation. So this is a little bit of what I was talking about yesterday about the mashup of a social network and a conference, is to try to change that communication model to one of just like this, where, you know, you're just listening to somebody, and there's value, to one that's more interactive, where you can actually meet that guy, meet that person, whether it's virtually or in person, and then continue a dialogue. So the long answer to the question is, all the presentations will be, it'll go name, abstract, and then I'll have the presentation. But more so, I think everybody's noticed that we have the cameras up there, and we're videoing all the presentations. And if you notice, when people walk after the presentation, they're ushered back there. There's a small interview that happens afterward. It's kind of like an abstract of their presentation. So the idea is that every single presentation here will have a small, short 5-minute video. You can watch it. If you're interested, then you can go to the 30-minute presentation. So not only will this presentation be on gogoNET, the video of this presentation, consisting of the slides and then the presenter, will also be on gogoNET and YouTube and so forth. Okay, so very quickly before Mikkel comes up, see, so we're at 34,462. We're getting around approximately, it depends on the day, but approximately 150 people a day signing up. It's around that. That's what it's kind of I guess, settled into. It's a little bit slow here. Here's some of the recent, you know, obviously the recent. So just as a quick outline, for people that have not come to the site, this is the home page of the gogoNET social network. I haven't signed in yet. We recently opened it up, actually. This is a bit of an experiment. Around a month ago, until about a month ago, you had to be a member of gogoNET to see any of the content inside of gogoNET. You can see this home page. Then we opened it up so that anybody can see all the content now, but more importantly, it's now going to be indexed by the search engines, because before it wasn't indexed by the search engines. So it's kind of an experiment to see, you know, whether that'll increase the membership or not. So therefore, I don't necessarily have to sign in, although I will anyway. I think everybody probably knows my email address. Now you really do, which is fine. Okay. Once you sign in, you have a My Page. This is your profile page. And this is where I'm saying if someone clicks on your image or your name, they'll go to this page. It's not that fast. There I am. That's at a friend's place, sitting on their couch. I couldn't find a better picture, but I guess that's okay. And then you can see the different, so everybody will have a profile, and so each of the speakers have put their bio here as well, just so you get a bit of an understanding of who they are. Can you see that? Yeah, so you can more or less see that. The friends of the person, there's Dale, actually. He's in the audience there. And you can see some other people there. And then all the different work, you know, the comments on the walls and then the blogs that you've done. And so you can get a picture of it. You can get a, you know, a reasonable picture if the person is active on the website of the person. So what I wanted to go through just really quickly, in addition to the home page, on the home page we track the latest V6 tweets, the blogs, and the news. So it's and we also have a group set up. I don't know if people are aware of it, but there's something called V6 News and Content. So this is like a fire hose. It literally is a fire hose. We have, well, we can look real quick. Every week we sift through the daily news, the daily tweets, and we have content on a weekly basis where you can click on any particular week. See, we're just 1 week behind now. And you can see that we have, in this particular week, there were 28 news items, 71 blogs, 820 tweets, and then if there's any new content that's been added to gogoNET, then it shows up there, like presentations, videos, and so forth. So you may want to either Twitter, be friended on Twitter, or you may just want to join the group or something like that. But this is a source of information. So that comes from that comes off of the home page. Just a quick kind of demo of it. You've got all the forms. There are plenty of forms, lots of activity. And then below you've got all the blogs. So this is what I was talking about. You can see that some of the people who actually updated, Dale, Jeremy, they've updated their presentations from, well, Dale actually hasn't presented yet, but Jeremy did yesterday. You can see there, here's all the presentations of all the speakers and so forth. And then down the side you got the latest interactions, and so we've had, 7 minutes ago we had our last person sign up. And then someone joined the V6 group in Italy, and then someone, I guess, started a discussion in Italy here. So it's just fun to see this. And then below we've got our videos. So the videos from this conference will undoubtedly show up here. And then below you've got the different shows. So we've got that here we are here today, and then there's a few other V6 shows here. So this is like a snapshot. If you're interested in, in V6, then this is a good place to go to get a snapshot. And then further than that, if you're in any of these particular topics, you can drill down where you can go to members. You can do anywhere here there's a search. So if you want to search for somebody and they're in V6, it's getting to the point where they're likely here. But you can see the the overall member count. You can just see the people that are online now. See, there's 32 people online currently. This is also a chat function in here, where you can, if you want, you can communicate. Oh, is there a live stream of the conference? So anyway, here's the people that are online right now. Anyway, a lot of people, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I thought it'd be interesting to show it. Now, this little screen, how am I going to exit the chat? I'm probably not going to be able to reach it here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, this may. Sorry about this. I guess this is going to pretty much cut it off. But the last thing I just wanted to show was Interact. This is where you can access the different videos. We have hundreds of videos, hundreds of presentations and documents. There's all the blogs, the forums, and the different groups. I think there's like 200 or 300 groups as well, per country, per job description, per, people are interested in mobile devices, security, and so forth. And I can't figure out with a small screen how to close the chat, so that will be the end of this little demonstration.